Good morning, cadets. We are discussing the latest sample question paper of the year 2020-21. And this year, it's a rationalized syllabus. What does it mean? That means nearly 30% of the syllabus is deleted, keeping in view of the pandemic that we have faced this particular year. The weightage, it's a 18 marks, it is retained, and 20 marks for ASL, that is assessment of speaking and listening skills. 3 hours time allowed. Then let's read these general instructions today. This paper is divided into two parts, A and B. We have discussed yesterday. Part A dealing with reading and literature sections, and part B dealing with writing and literature sections. So in part A we have multiple choice questions, and in part B we have the questions on writing skills, subjective questions, as well as literature section we have subjective questions. All questions are compulsory and there are internal choices that have been given in these questions. Separate instructions are given with each section and question wherever necessary. Read these instructions very carefully and follow them. Do not exceed the prescribed word limit while answering the questions. In the case of part A, you need not worry about that. But in part B, you have to keep in mind the word limit. Writing. In the case of writing, if the question carries 3 marks, you have to write within 50 words. So you have to keep that thing in the mind. How much you should write. So let's go to the part A reading section. We have taken up the first question. We'll just read this passage once again for better understanding, and then we'll read the questions, and today we'll attempt all the questions of this passage. Question number 1, read the passage given below. So each question carries 1 mark. These are all multiple choice questions. There are totally 11 questions and you have to attempt 10 questions. So let's read the passage. Try to read the passage with understanding. What is the tip yesterday given to you? Read first sentence or first line. Who doesn't know how to cook rice? Cooking rice hardly takes time. The first question is dealing with this. Said my father. Think of that. Who doesn't know how to cook rice? Cooking rice hardly takes time. What does it mean? What must be the answer of the first question? You can try to give answer for the first question. So easy. Who doesn't know how to cook rice? So simple it is. Hardly it takes time. So think of that. So I challenged myself. So he had challenged his father. And he had challenged himself. I switched from news to YouTube and typed. Again, this sentence, very important sentence. I switched from news to YouTube and typed how to cook rice. So what was the tip given to you? I told you, read the first line and the last line of the paragraph. Who doesn't know how to cook rice? Cooking rice hardly takes time. So something to do with cooking. That's what you will understand. Suffice to say, I was up to the mark. It tells about his personality also. I was up to the mark. He was quite confident. It appeared I was up to the mark. Then about his own opinion. And remember, this is a discursive passage. So here the writer is rambling from topic to type. He feels, oh, father says like that. Then his thought. Then he's taking us, with his thought, with his what is coming in his mind. He's telling us all that. So rambling thoughts. And you'll find that it's a bit analytical. He goes on analyzing also. So the video stated that, so what is he watching? He is watching YouTube. And he is watching how to cook rice. The video, so video that was there on the YouTube. So let's take up again. The video stated that the key to perfect rice is equal amounts of rice and water. See how these sentences are very, very important. Then we'll come to the last here. It has to have that chutzpah. It has to resist my biting power just for a bit before disintegrating. Now here let's see here. After what seemed like 10 minutes, all the water disappeared. So water disappeared there. So what is he doing? He's cooking rice. What have you done to the kitchen? Shouted mother while coming towards the kitchen. So I managed to watch. So somehow he managed to see that she doesn't bother him much. So let's now I am quite sure you are understood better now when you read these few sentences and remember that if it's analytical paragraph, it is better to read two times. You don't have very long paragraphs, I mean long passages now. So therefore, you better read two times, understand the paragraph, or read the question, then try to understand the paragraph. Then your comprehensive ability will be better. Okay, so let's go ahead with this. I challenged myself. So father says something, so he challenged himself. I switched from news to YouTube and typed how to cook rice. So he's watching that YouTube video, how to cook rice. I took 1.5 cups of rice. No, since I didn't have access to a rice cooker, I put the rice in a big pot. Firstly, the rice has to be washed to get rid of dust and starch. So first washing. So he has put that in the big pot in the utensil. Then after that, I thought I won't be able to drain the rice. So draining of the rice, that it will fall out of the pot. So he has put water, then he is trying to drain it. I observed the chef. So way he is watching that video and he observed that what chef was doing, that cook was doing. As I swirled the rice around, he has put his hand, swirled the rice, used my dexterous hands. So he claims himself to be dexterous. So dexterous, very skillful. Really is he skillful? If he's skillful, why should he watch that video, isn't it? So not dexterous hands. Not once, not twice, but three times. So what is he doing? He is swirling the rice. I looked down at the sink and what has happened when he has tried to drain it. Then he has seen there in the sink what was there. Saw less than 50 grains that made their way out of the pot. So many grains of rice that were there in the sink. Was he able to drain properly? No. And he claims himself to be dexterous. Suffice to say, I was up to the mark. So that's why that word presumptuous, which has come later, it tells us that he was very boastful, he was very overconfident. The video stated that the key to perfect rice is equal amounts of rice and water. When you want to boil that rice, then what you have to do? Equal amount of rice and water has to be there. I have heard that professionals is not amateur. He thinks that he's a professional. Don't need to measure everything. They just know what the right amount is. But as this was my first time in the kitchen, I decided to experiment by not measuring the water needed for boiling the rice. I wanted the rice to be firm, when bitten, just like pasta. I don't enjoy the texture of mushy rice. It has to have that chutzpah, it has to resist my biting power just for a bit before disintegrating. After what seemed like 10 minutes, all the water disappeared. I went in to give it a good stir. To my surprise, some of the rice got stuck to the pot. I tried to scrape it off, but to no avail. At the same time, there was a burning smell coming from it. I quickly turned the stove off. What have you done to the kitchen? Shouted mother while coming towards the kitchen. I managed to ward her off. Finally, when the time came to taste my creation, I was surprised. It wasn't bad at all. The rice had the desired consistency. Sure, a little more salt would have been better, but I just added that while eating. The experience was fairly rewarding and memorable. It taught me a new sense of respect for those who cook food on a regular basis at home or engage in gourmet creations professionally. So yesterday we have seen these three questions. You have read that. Father's question to the narrator. about knowing how to cook rice was intended to. So what is the answer for this? You can give the answer for that. Criticize the narrator's lack of abilities. Make the process sound simple. See what father says, who doesn't know how to cook rice? So easy it is. So he wanted to tell that that process is very very simple. So sound simple. So right answer is B. So let's see here. Second one, I switched from news to YouTube. We have discussed this yesterday. So here switched is not the same as it is. So in the passage. Now here he switched on the radio to listen to the news. Forget these diet supplements and switch to yoga. So here shift to yoga. So that is right. Switched from news. So shifted from news to YouTube. So that is the same meaning here. Mom switched to reading fiction recently because she was bored with cookbooks. From cookbooks, she has switched over to reading fiction. So shifted. So again, same meaning. The company will switch the trucks to other routes to bring down city pollution. So again, shifting. But first one is turn down the radio. So it has got different meaning. So answer is A. He switched on the radio. Let's go to the third one. Based on your understanding of the passage, choose the option that lists the correct sequence of the process. So you should know the correct sequence of the process. And what is the correct sequence? Here, let's see here. Use water to wash the rice. Repeat the process 3 times. Drain the water off. Put rice in a utensil. So first, put rice into utensil. That is what he does. He puts rice in that pot. It's quite easy. You can look for that and you will be able to get the answer here. Put rice. So very easy because that process is there. Just follow that process and you will be able to attempt this question very easily. Fourth one, put rice in utensil. C is the right answer. Next, use water to wash the rice. Swirl the water in and around the rice. Next, drain the water off and what happens? There's so many grains of rice were there in the sink. And last, repeat the process 3 times. Drain the water off and then repeat the process 3 times. And that is what he has done. Draining off 3 times. And what was the end? He was very, very overconfident. And he says, suffice to say, I was up to the mark. What does it mean? He was very, very presumptuous. Okay, let's hear. The narrator says that he has a dexterous hands. He has a very skillful hands. He would have had a problem had it been the opposite. Not being dexterous means. So here first of all you should know the meaning of the word dexterous. And dexterous, O-U-E-S is a, that's why adjective. Which part of speech it belongs to? It belongs to adjective. So dexterous hands, dexterity, skill. Now dexterous, very skillful. So opposite of skillful is clumsy, uncomfortable, clumsy, unclear, clueless. So what is the answer here? Answer is B, clumsy. Let's go to the fifth question. A. Which option represents the correct ratio of water to rice for cooking perfect rice? So what they have done, they have given the images. So first image, what does it tell us? That rice and water, they are at equal level. In the case of second one, water is very less. Rice, it's nearly, almost, it's full. So nearly 80%. Similar case in the case of this one also. Third, there you'll find, what will you find? So similar kind of thing you'll find there. Water, there, just see there how much it is there that you can make out there. That water is very very, so water level and then rice level, and fourth one also variation is there in the case of water level and rice level. So here in the first image they are almost equal. And what is the answer there? They are almost equal. So half of it should be filled with rice. So almost equal. So that's why image first. That is the right answer. Now here next question is for visually impaired candidates in lieu of question number 50. So this question is not for you. So don't attempt this question. It is for visually impaired. So those who are partially blind. It is meant for them. It is not for you. Okay, so those who are sighted, it is not meant for them, but it is meant for partially blind students. So you need not worry about question number fifth B. First question is for you, fifth A is for you, and fifth B is for visually impaired. So don't get confused. So fifth B is not for you. Don't worry about that. But there it is very clearly given 50% water, 50% rice. So it is very clearly given there, isn't it? So now here second one is 70% water and 30% rice. That is what it is given there. Okay, fine. Now let's move on to the next question. That is question number 6. Now, how did mother react to the burning smell? She commented on it. She brushed it aside. She inquired about it. She handled it. She was worried very much. And what did she do? She inquired. And when she inquired, and then here was the one who was very confident. And what have you done to the kitchen when mother has shouted then? Somehow he managed to ward her off. So here she inquired what is happening there in the kitchen. Okay, let's move on. So she inquired. So let's move on to the next question. That is question number 7. According to the passage, the fact that the narrator risked experimentation on his maiden attempt. So it is a first attempt in the kitchen, shows that he was conscientious, nervous, presumptuous, courteous. So he was very overconfident. The narrator risked experimentation, but he keeps on talking about his dexterity, dexterous hands. He was suffice to say, I was up to the mark, so overconfident. So it's presumptuous. So very overconfident. Okay, presumptuous, very boastful of himself. Now let's go to the next one now. Question number 8. Pick the option choosing the correct use of the word huspa. It is a court's duty to dispense huspa to everyone irrespective of caste or creed. First of all, you should know what does it mean. It means huspa means boldness, extreme self-confidence, audacity, boldness. That's what chutzpah means. No, it is a court's duty to dispense chutzpah. So here what? Pick the option showing the correct use of the word chutzpah. So correct use of the word we have seen. The speaker may not have much of a stage presence, but you have got to admit she has got chutzpah. She has got boldness or audacity. So that is the right answer. B is the right answer here. I could crack the code easily, which proved me to be a chutzpah. No, it's wrong. After his father's demise, death, the daughter took over the family's chutzpah. Wrong. So what is the answer here? The B is the right answer. The speaker may not have much of a stage presence. Despite all that, she had a boldness. She could speak well. Let's go to the ninth one. Pick the option that correctly states what did not happen after the writer checked on the rice. What did not happen? Turning the stove off, being taken aback at the condition of rice, forgetting to scrape the stuck rice, smelling the delicious aroma of cooked rice. So there was no delicious aroma. What is aroma? Pleasant smell of that cooked rice. It was not there. That was missing. So that did not happen. That he expected. The narrator's creation was almost perfect to taste, way off from what he wanted, overly seasoned, quite distasteful. He says, no, it was almost perfect to taste. That is there in the passage itself, quite easy. And the 11th one, the last one. So 11th one, let's see here. Pick the option that correctly lists the final feelings of the writer with a reference to the cooking experience. So how was his cooking experience? Frustrating? No. Amusing? Was it amusing? No. Satisfying? Yes, it was quite satisfying. Disillusioning? No, not disappointing at all. Exacting? No. Then what is it? It was enlightening too. He learnt a lot about that. So what is the option there? C is the option. And what is the C? C is third and sixth, that is satisfying and enlightening. Remember that whenever you are attempting these kind of passages, you have to be very careful because it's an analytical passage. Here, his thoughts are rambling. From topic to topic, he gives his opinion. So, since it's opinionated, you have to be analytical. You have to understand better. So, that's why it's a better if you read two times, three times, and then once you get the ideas, then try to attempt the questions. So, your interpretations, your inference, your comprehension is very important when you're dealing these kind of passages. Thank you. Goodbye.